Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Meteorology Lab once again. And we're looking at pretty much deep in the icebox right now. We've got sub-freezing conditions, and we're getting the last of the cold air spreading across the southern U.S. But we've got quite a warm-up taking place right now. I'll switch over and checking for drop frames, and we're looking pretty good. Okay. Yeah, take a look at these temperatures here. These are highs for today, and you can see we've warmed up quite a bit. Parts of South Dakota coming above freezing here. Same thing out in western Nebraska. So we're starting to build the warming trend in from Wyoming and Montana, kind of spreading eastward right there. And where it is cold is down south. So you can see we've got 20 there at Oklahoma City for a high, and 28 in the DFW area, and down in Florida, they're getting the cold air there. So highs around 56 there at Tampa, 41 at Jacksonville, and 72 at Miami. The lows this morning, there's a look at those. Looks like the coldest temperatures I can find are north of Montreal, minus 38. Up in that region, this area here is really moderated. They've come up from about minus 20, minus 30 up to minus 10. So I think tonight should be even warmer. So this is the thickness chart. It shows where the extent of the Arctic air is. And looks like the core of it is over Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma there. And here's where we're building in the warming trend along the lee side of the northern Rockies there. And also, yeah, there's a pressure gradient or a thickness gradient right up there in Alberta down to Saskatchewan. And that's reflecting a bit of it's almost like a little warm front maybe. Starting to get that push of warm air on the lee sides there. The high pressure itself centered in this area right here, and that's going to gradually absorb itself into the Atlantic high offshore. Okay, here's the upper level charts. We're showing still some northwesterly flow, but most of the cold air up north is depleted, and with this jet stream directly over the air mass source region, that's going to keep it from really radiating out and intensifying. So this is not very conducive to Arctic air development. Also down in Texas, probably a bit of the subtropical jet in that area. We're seeing over 100 knots in that region. And let's take a look at the surface chart. We've got that over here. There's Texas, still got northerly flow there, overcast. And up north, you can see the moderating trend, but there is a little bit of fresh cold air coming south, but not quite as severe there. It looks like the leading edge runs from Minnesota, maybe up to Montana like that right there. But south of that, you can see the downslope air in Nebraska. Elsewhere around the country at this hour, let's take a look out east. Definitely very cold through New York and Pennsylvania. Then down in Florida, they've got the cold air coming through there also. Looking at 68 degrees there at Miami and 50 at Tampa. And it's probably about time to start switching out to the west coast. Let me see if I can get that to come up here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, 61 there at Los Angeles. 70s in the deserts, and yeah, most of this air looks fairly mild for this time of year. And one way we can really see just how mild or cold or warm it is by looking at temperature anomaly. And let me bring that chart up here. So yeah, it's looking pretty warm out west there. A little bit of cold air up in the northern deserts, but you can see there's the bulk of the cold air across mostly the central and southern U.S. And this here is indicating maybe a little bit of a front kind of like that right there. So a little bit of a fresh intrusion of cold air coming south, but it looks like the worst of it is over. Okay, let's head to the satellite imagery. There we go. There's a look at the clouds there. Looks like it's mostly being influenced by mid and upper level dynamics there. Everything's got a very striated appearance, and it looks like there's a pretty good shortwave moving through Arkansas right here. Looks like maybe that wave, kind of like that shortwave trough there, and another one up in Iowa. And the Pacific is starting to get active, a couple of systems offshore in that region. Okay, let's see how things look over in Chatland. Fun with tech, AT&T network problems in the Midwest. Sue M reporting -8 there in southern Indiana. -3 in Pampa this morning from Jason Boggs. Tom J. Joining us along with Adam Davis and Dave Dunnett up in Alberta. Ron Chalfant and Jason Boggs. Bill Johnson reported -15 wind chill in Milwaukee. Megan John also with us, and Burl H. reporting -18 in Iowa City this morning. Fun with tech getting a little bit of buffering there. Let's see, we dropped about 262 frames here. That's going to be about maybe 10 seconds. So you see, that's where I'm checking out how many frames we dropped. Yeah, right there. So I think any other buffering going on would probably be at YouTube or on the backbone networks there. Megan John curious about the storm on the East Coast. Tom J mentioning the temperatures there at Las Cruces. Big storm in New England for Thursday, according to Alexander Woods. And Jeff Lockwood looking for snow and ice up to an inch. Tallahassee and East, and Megan John also mentioning that storm there. Is that Megan John or is that John Megan? I keep seeing that. Is that last name first that I'm seeing there? I want to get that straight, because if it's not Megan John, I want to fix that there. Okay. Yeah, let's look at Las Cruces. Why not? Let me scroll down and let me get my preview window back where it needs to be. Okay, yeah, looking at about 47 right there around Las Cruces, 47 at El Paso. They are getting a little bit of an east flow. Some of that cold air coming across the Guadalupe Mountains, but the bulk of it remaining out to the east there. Also pretty mild there at Albuquerque, around 40 to 41. And looks like also kind of a mild day in the Central Rockies there. Okay, there's the water vapor imagery, and this is showing the Pacific there getting active, bringing up the Pineapple Express from the southerly latitudes down in this region. So we're going to see those precipitable waters coming up. And looks like a little bit of moisture heading through the southeast U.S. also right there. And we'll see if we can pick that up on the forecast charts. And I guess we can start out looking at the vorticity panels. This gives us an idea of where the upper level energy is. And we've got this shortwave. There's the current chart right there. Pretty good shortwave moving through North Texas, Oklahoma, and the Abilene Midland area. And that's embedded in this northwesterly flow. And that's going to move quickly into Louisiana tomorrow. Actually, overnight. Yeah, that's about midnight there. And then tomorrow morning all the way out towards Mobile. And then it'll be approaching Florida during the day tomorrow. So a pretty good chunk of energy heading that way. and then that will work up the coast. But behind it, things look a little bit better. Looks like maybe a little bit of curvature right there. This is for tomorrow night. But looking pretty quiet. Looks like we got ridging building in for tomorrow. So that's going to point toward a warming trend for the central U.S. there. Still looks a little bit stormy there in the Great Lakes region. Pretty strong channeled flow, and when we have that strong flow like that, there can always be some embedded waves in there producing some upward motion. Okay, so let's switch over to the GFS. And we'll take a look at the forecast for the next couple weeks. Okay, Big 1034 millibar high across much of Texas, Oklahoma, and the Mississippi River Valley. And then moving forward, on top of that cold dome, there will be that short wave moving overhead. It doesn't show up very well on the surface chart, but maybe that will start interacting with some of the low-level moisture there. So let's see, by 12Z, by dawn, that's going to be in this area right here. And out ahead of it is where we're going to have the upward motion. So yeah, we do get some rain developing in Florida, and GFS going for some ice there in the Jacksonville area. And then as that short wave moves to the east, during the day tomorrow, that's going to work up the coast. Georgia and South Carolina looks like a chance for some freezing rain, maybe sleet and snow. And then offshore looks like a pretty good low developing offshore. Maybe some thunderstorms offshore, and then that comes up the coast. And that's a lot closer than what the model had forecasted just a few days ago. So that's bringing it much closer to the coast. So for tomorrow night, that's going to be moving up towards the Cape Hatteras area. And then on up the Atlantic coast, we get rapid development of low pressure off in the Gulf Stream area, 970 millibar low. And then that moves into the Canadian Maritimes there. So maybe I'll bring up the NAM chart. Yeah, we can look at the ECMWF also. ECMWF resolution is not very good, so all I've got is maybe that frame and the previous frame. Okay, so this is going to be Thursday morning here. The low is going to be somewhat offshore in that Gulf Stream area. ECMWF here going for 956 millibars. And we'll take a look at the NAM and see if we can pick up a little bit of detail on that. That'll take just a second to come up here. So as we can see, the GFS has not really picked up very well on how close that system has come to the coast. So it kind of shows you how much can change in the matter of a couple of days here. So here's the NAM. This is going to be the mesoscale forecast here. So you can see a little bit of showery activity indicated here where we have upward motion ahead of that short wave moving through Louisiana overnight. And that'll move very quickly eastward, and there it goes, developing the ice and snow, some wet bulbing in that area as the dry air pushes south. So yeah, it looks pretty, looks like freezing rain right there around Jacksonville, moving up towards Savannah and Charleston there. And so that's going to work its way up the coast, probably some power outages all the way from Savannah up to Charleston and Wilmington. And that'll continue moving up northeastward, pretty similar to what the GFS and ECMWF had, and also snow falling up from Washington, D.C. up to New York there. But this certainly could be a lot worse. Looks like the coast here is going to be pretty much in that deformation zone to the north of the low pressure area right here. And let me see if I can bring up the totals here for snowfall. Okay, so we're going to be looking at 24-hour snow here. So this NAM model is going to include some of the mesoscale effects. It's got a lot of the good cloud physics and convective parameterization there. And you can see that in southern Georgia, we've got spots of 6 to 10 inches of snow there. And then we pick up some more snow there around Cape Hatteras, about 12 to 16 inches there. And then that spreads up the coast. And for the most part, not a whole lot of snow, except right along Long Island, Rhode Island, Block Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and the Boston area. So pretty much right on the coast there. Some of this showing 12 to 16 inches there. But looks like New York kind of escapes the brunt of that. And Boston, that's kind of right on the edge of that 10 to 12 inch there. So I guess they're going to be getting some of the worst of it there. And looks like the Canadian Maritimes is going to be hit pretty hard. Also Maine, New Brunswick up in this area showing lots of 10 to 20 inches. And that gets to the end of that sequence there. So that gives you kind of an idea what's going to happen over the next 48 hours. And all I can recommend is, as we have the new data, the new model runs coming in, just check that out and take a look at the changes that are forecast. The trends in the models, those are really the key to uncovering what's happening. Okay, so let's go to the long range here. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there we go. Looks like another chunk of cold air coming south, 1040 millibar high in western Ontario on Friday. So a little bit more cold air coming in. There it goes, 1036 millibar high. This is coming more towards the Midwest. And Texas under southerly flow there from the Gulf. Looks like a couple of upper level systems possibly moving across the Rockies out here. Yeah, there goes a weak one right there. And it looks like they kind of like they move across the Rockies kind of as a dry system, and then they reemerge on the other side as they link up with the moisture. This is on Sunday. And you can see this next system coming together right here for Sunday going into Monday. And the main impact on that will be anywhere from Alabama and Georgia up to around Ohio and Pennsylvania there. And then more cold air coming southward for Wednesday and Thursday next week. 1040 millibar high moving south. And then we get kind of a northern plain system here, kind of a Alberta Clipper. And there it goes through the Great Lakes area. Gulf is open in Texas, so probably some showery weather in that region. Developing really good over Arkansas on the 12th. And then, yeah, we catch what looks like a southern stream system moving through here. Let me back that up. Yeah, you can see it right here, some sort of shortwave. Where's my drawing tool? Hang on a second. Okay. So there it is. You can see a little bit of upper energy on the 13th coming through Arizona, and watch it come across the Las Cruces area right there. It starts interacting with that cold dome. So with that back flow ahead of the shortwave, we get isentropic lift out ahead of this shortwave here. And then you can really see it coming together on the 14th and 15th. Looks like some mixed precipitation in North Texas there. And then you can see it moving across Alabama and Mississippi. So not so much a surface system as it is a upper low-level to mid-level system there. And then a couple of weak systems going through the northern U.S. there towards the very end, and then we hit the 18th. Okay, so that is about all I got for today. Let me take a look at chat here. Okay, Megan John, very good. Okay. Jeff Lockwood, 30 years ago, worked with his dad and shared an office with another consultant named John Megan. Fred Reamer calling for frontal passage there. Front run Chalfont looking for some rain in Southern California next week. 2 degrees there in Indiana where Sue is. Megan John looking at some buffering there. Some people seeing buffering. Yeah, I picked up another 300 frames of buffering, so yeah, looks like maybe 10 seconds of buffering on my edge here, on my end here. And Megan John saying the largest snowfall accumulations appear to be Thursday night from roughly around dusk to dawn. And Fred Reamer says don't forget to like. Okay, I do appreciate that. Thank you all for joining the webcast, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow night. Take care.